Let me put a question in front of you. Why is it that some people hold steady under pressure while others collapse the moment life pushes back? It's not about being lucky. It's not magic. It's the result of internal strength. And the truth is, most people never develop it. They live trying to stay comfortable. They reach for shortcuts. And they're left wondering why everything feels heavier than it should. But that's not you. At least not after this. Because before this video ends, you'll have a clear process to build a mind that holds even under stress. No more excuses, no more hesitation, just a decision to take charge and act like it. And by the end, I'll show you the exact shift that moves you from reacting emotionally to thinking with clarity, even when things get hard. If this already helped you think clearer, hit subscribe and stay with it. Let's get into it. The mindset shift that changes everything. Let's start here, because nothing changes unless this does. You need to shift how you think about challenge. Most people still believe life should be easy, but it isn't, and it's not supposed to be. Look at anyone who's genuinely mentally strong. Do you think they built that strength by avoiding pressure? They didn't. They got it by going through things most people avoid. They failed. They struggled. They kept moving when everything in them wanted to quit. That's where mental toughness comes from. Your mind is a muscle. It can't grow on comfort. If you don't challenge it, it stays soft. If you never train it, it never hardens. You might get away with it for a while, but when life hits you hard, you'll find out what it's made of. Take the easy path long enough, and you stay fragile. Then one day, something real shows up, and you collapse under it. No warning, no preparation, just boom, you break. That's not drama. That's just what happens when you never built strength on purpose. Once you stop fearing difficulty and start facing it, everything else can change. Now let me show you what that looks like in real life. There was a young guy broke, stuck, unsure what to do next. That guy was Jim Rohn. He was 25 behind on promises, behind on rent, and working a job that barely paid the bills. No momentum, no plan, no future in sight. Then one day, he met a mentor, Earl Schaff, and something changed. Jim didn't get a handout. He got a challenge. Schaff laid it out plain. If you want things to change, you have to change. If you want to earn more, you have to become more. At that point, Jim had two options: keep drifting or rebuild from the ground up. He made the decision to go all in. He studied every day, woke up earlier, refused to waste another hour on excuses. He rewired how he thought, how he worked, how he spoke. Was it hard? Yes. Was it slow? Very. Did he want to give up often? But he didn't, because he understood something most people miss. Mental strength gets built at the exact moment you want to stop, but don't. Years later, he became one of the most respected teachers on personal development. He built businesses, taught millions, and proved that you can change your life if you change your philosophy. And that's the point. Your limits aren't out there. They're internal, and they're negotiable. But strength doesn't just come from what you push through, it also comes from what you stop putting up with. Here's what breaks mental strength faster than anything else: habits that drain it. If you're serious about building resilience, start by cutting these three things completely. First, stop complaining. It solves nothing. It doesn't move things forward. It just keeps you locked in place mentally and practically. If something can be changed, change it. If not, accept it and refocus. But either way, stop repeating the same complaints out loud or in your head. Second, stop chasing comfort. All growth happens in discomfort, not outside of it. You want to build strength. Put yourself in situations that stretch you. Comfort makes you soft. Challenge builds capacity. Third, stop making excuses. Excuses are the language of stuck people. And no matter what the situation is, you always have a choice. Maybe not an easy one, but a real one. Choose the one that moves you forward, not the one that explains why you're standing still. Because mental strength isn't something you claim. It's something you practice by what you stop tolerating. Now let's talk about the daily habits that actually build mental toughness. Not theory, not slogans, just behavior done consistently. Do these habits every single day. Not when you're motivated, not when it's convenient. Every day. Because discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it asks what you've trained. Let's start with the first test, and it begins before you even leave the house. Cold showers, you hate discomfort. Good. Start your day by facing it. Cold showers aren't for recovery or energy or biohacking. They're for building the habit of choosing discomfort on purpose. Every morning your body will resist. It'll ask for warm, for easy, for later, and you say no. You step in anyway. Because you're not training comfort, you're training command. This is the first controlled test of the day, and how you handle it sets the tone for everything that follows. The water doesn't get easier. You just stop negotiating with it. And that's the win. You acted, not reacted. You practice discipline when it costs nothing, so you can rely on it when it costs everything. This is where mental strength begins. One cold choice. One decisive act. First thing in the morning. Cold showers teach your mind to act under resistance. Now it's time to move that mindset into your body. Exercise. Your mind and body are not separate systems. If your body stays weak, your mental endurance will follow. You can't expect your thoughts to stay strong when your body is falling apart. You need movement, repetition, strain. You need physical resistance because it teaches your brain how to push through limits. Every workout is a stress test, not just of your muscles, but of your will. You're not just lifting weights. You're training yourself to keep going when it gets hard. That lesson carries far beyond the gym. Most people think mental strength comes from mindset, but mindset without physical follow-through is empty. Discipline lives in your body before it lives in your words. Show up, move under pressure. Don't quit because it hurts. Finish because it matters. Even if it's short, even if it's basic. Daily exercise teaches one of the most powerful skills you can build, how to stay in motion when comfort tells you to stop. Exercise trains your body. Now, you need to train your mind, not just with movement, but with direction. Deliberate study, not random reading, not scrolling. Deliberate means chosen. You pick what matters. You commit to mastering it. Jim Rohn said it clearly, miss a meal, but don't miss your daily reading. Because daily input builds long-term clarity. You don't need hours. You need 20 focused minutes, a notebook, a mind that's open, a topic that matters to your goals. This habit sharpens thinking. It builds language perspective and mental structure. Most importantly, it feeds your ability to teach, explain, and lead. The average person consumes content. You build understanding. If you're not learning with intention, you're drifting by default. Daily study is the habit that separates reaction from reflection and short-term activity from long-term strategy. Make it non-negotiable, because the mind won't stay sharp unless you sharpen it deliberately. You build clarity through study, but clarity without action is wasted. Mental strength needs daily resistance. Do something hard every day. That's not philosophy. That's training. Pick something that costs effort. Waking up earlier. Calling the client you've been avoiding. Finishing the task you keep delaying. One thing every day that challenges your will. It doesn't have to be dramatic, but it has to be uncomfortable, because ease never strengthens resolve. When you choose the hard thing on purpose, you condition yourself to act even without ideal conditions. You remove hesitation. You build decisiveness, and that decisiveness compounds over time. Most people wait to feel ready. You don't. You use action to become ready. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the arena. And every time you step into it voluntarily, you prove that you're in control, not your feelings, not your excuses. Do that every day. Not for the result, but for who you become by doing it. You can study, you can train, you can act, but if you lose control the moment stress hits, none of it holds. How to control your emotions under pressure. Mentally strong people don't let emotions take the lead. They lead even in the middle of chaos. The first skill, pause. That's it. When you feel anger rise, or fear take over, or stress building in your chest, stop. Take a deep breath. Count to 5. This sounds small, but it's the leverage point. That pause creates a gap, and in that gap, you choose how to respond. Without the gap, your emotions run the show. You snap, you regret, you repeat. That cycle erodes control, one reaction at a time. But when you pause, you hold the wheel. You stop reacting and start directing. Emotions are waves. They rise, they fall. You can't stop them, but you can learn to surf them. If you let emotions dictate your actions, you're handing the keys to something unstable. But if you observe them, interrupt the loop, and act with clarity, that's real strength. Control isn't about suppression. It's about deliberate choice under pressure. Because in the moments where others explode, you hold the frame. Now let's talk about failure and why mentally strong people treat it differently from the rest. Most people are afraid of failure, not because it's painful, but because it feels final. They see it as a verdict. Mentally strong people see it as feedback. The truth is simple. Failure is required, not optional, not avoidable. Required. You can't grow without friction. And friction means missteps, losses, attempts that don't work yet. Look at anyone who's great at anything: athletes, entrepreneurs, builders. They've failed more times than most people have even tried. Because they weren't counting failures, they were collecting lessons. If you failed recently, good. It means you're engaged. It means you're testing limits. It means you're building data, not just ideas. The only real failure is quitting. Everything else is instruction. You either use it or you repeat it. But if you're afraid of looking wrong, or feeling behind, or not getting it perfect, you'll never get strong. You'll just get safe. And safe doesn't grow anything. Embrace the failed rep. Learn from it. Then take another swing with better awareness than last time. Failure sets the baseline, but only discipline builds what happens after. A lot of people wait for motivation. That's why they fail. Motivation is unreliable. It shows up some days, disappears on others. And if your progress depends on how you feel, your results will always be unstable. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't ask, "Do I feel like it?" It says, "What needs to be done?" Some days you'll wake up ready. Other days you'll want to quit before you start. That's normal. But it's also irrelevant if you've built the habit of doing hard things anyway. Discipline means doing the thing even when you don't want to. It's waking up and executing without debate. That's how consistency is built. And consistency is the foundation of all real success. Waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There's just now and whether or not you act. Discipline is a muscle. Use it daily or lose it completely. You don't need to feel inspired. You need to move. You don't need to love the process. You need to complete the rep. And the more you show up, especially on the days you don't want to, the more power you build. Next, build systems, not just goals. Goals are good, but without a system, they're just wishful thinking. You want to lose weight? That's a goal. Your system is going to the gym 5 times a week, no matter how you feel. That's the part that works. Most people set goals based on outcomes. I want to get fit. I want to save more. I want to write a book. But wanting doesn't build anything. Action does. And systems are how action becomes automatic. A system is a structure you repeat regardless of mood, energy, or distractions. It doesn't wait for motivation. It runs because it's built. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems, every single time. That's why mentally strong people focus on process, not just outcome. They define the behaviors that lead to the result, then commit to them daily. Consistency beats intensity. Small habits done without fail are what compound into transformation. Think long-term. Design your system. Make it simple. Make it repeatable. Then protect it. Because big changes aren't made in big moments. They're built in small, boring, invisible acts, done with precision every single day. You've got your system. Now the question is, will you run it or just keep resetting? Right now, you have 2 options. Shut this off. Go back to what's easy. Repeat what's familiar. And in 30 days, still feel stuck. Or decide. Decide that this is the day you shift. No more excuses. No more waiting for the perfect moment. just action. Because your future doesn't need another explanation. It needs execution. Choose and begin. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone who needs to hear this. And if you're serious about leveling up, make sure to subscribe because we're just getting started. Stay strong, keep pushing, and I'll see you in the next one.